Good afternoon, folks, and in a totally different kind of video, I'm going to be playing some Call of Duty 4 PC. This is a game that originally made me switch to the PC and finally made me stop playing Gears of War religiously on the Xbox. I'm not promising any good gameplay. I have no idea what the server rotation is. Yesterday, I posted a YouTube short about how Call of Duty has changed, how different it is, and somebody asked me, could I possibly talk about really, how I feel about it. Most people won't even know from my channel that this was the game that really got me into PC. The reason for that was obviously I would be a montage person back in the day, right? I'm just fixing my webcam here, just zooming in a little bit. Then we'll get playing. I used to make montages on Gears of War back in the day. Naturally, you would, how do you call it? Watch other people's content, things like that, and you start to enjoy different things. And Pro Mod was the mode that I enjoyed to watch, to look at, more than anything. Even Gears montages, I just thought the whole vibe of the game was just incredible. I thought it was highly skilled, which at the time is something that appealed to me massively. Obviously now as I'm older, I still do like to play the skillful games and, try to have my own piece of fun. But ultimately, nowadays, it's more about fun and what I want to put my time into. Back then, I wanted to be the best, if you want to call it that. And so I started to play Pro Mod. And that sort of got me into the chain reaction of playing different PC games like StarCraft, League of Legends, DayZ, all of these older games. And as I've got a bit older and I've started to look at YouTube a bit differently, I want to post things that I enjoy, that make me nostalgic, and those are older games. So I am tempted to play some old DayZ and stuff like that. Just the older games. Now, for this game in particular, I was never that good at Call of Duty. Like I say, I put all my time into Gears of War, and we weren't the best, but it just had this charm, this nostalgia. And I've been watching some old videos, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to reinstall this game. It was a bit of a, shall we say, nightmare to get running. You had to install some COD4 X because the original game, basically the original game, is kind of wrecked. There was some kind of exploit where somebody could take control of your PC, and I don't know, you can't use the official servers. So you end up having to install some mod, but we got it running. I've played on Wet Work, I've played some Search and Destroy, I've played some Team Deathmatch, and I just think it's been a nice experience, and I wanted to share it. Now, in terms of Call of Duty and how much it's changed, this was like the premier hectic game mode. Domination, kill house, it couldn't be more hectic, but even playing this now, it somehow feels less hectic than modern COD. It's quite bizarre. There's nobody bouncing off walls, there's no jetpacks, everybody, there's, especially the thing that appealed to me, I suppose I should say, is in Pro Mod you had these specific guns that you could use. You couldn't use specific sites, there was set maps, and it just really appealed to the competitor in me, and it just was super clean to play. Call of Duty has changed a drastic amount. It's gone from military simulator, trying to be, as crisp and as accurate as really humanly possible, I suppose, to trying to become Nicki Minaj twerking whilst a spaceship flies over your head. And in Black Ops 7, you can throw a knife into the sky that drops down 50 foot and kills somebody, and it's just, it's barbaric, really. This is the kind of barbaric action I enjoy, Getting in behind a spawn, everything going crazy, tons of people, but you're still shooting the gun. You're still, you know, there's nothing, I don't know what, there's nothing too wild going on. Call of Duty has changed for me so much that I don't recognize the franchise, and it's just not something I play anymore. I like to keep things simple with my gaming. Gears of War, StarCraft. I like to kind of know roughly what's gonna happen in the game, the nuances, meaning, you know, you can roughly have a good idea of how kill house domination is gonna go, or sniping on wet work. These modern CODs are just barbaric. They're crazy, mental, and it's just not even in the same stratosphere of the old games, is it? These games look, you know, I will say it started to look dated now. I know that sounds silly. It's an old game. Obviously, it's going to look dated. But what I mean is when I originally got this game and I switched to PC, I remember it being so crisp, so sharp. And now I will say it's finally showing its age a little bit. But it's still timeless, and it's still such an enjoyable franchise / nostalgic period for me. I really do enjoy it, and I just wanted today just to put something different on my channel. You know, not every game has to be the brand new latest game. Not every game has to be a discussion, because for those that maybe are new that have randomly clicked on this video, my channel's kind of about discussion, about Gears of War, about other games, and mainly Path of Exile. But actually, one of the things I really enjoy about the older CODs is they are just a simple form of shooting. Yes, there's technique, there's skill in them, but you are primarily playing a shooting game. Nowadays, when you play Call of Duty, it's more about the class you've created, the gun you've acquired, the blueprint, the whatever it may be, right? Now, obviously, your gun is impactful in Call of Duty 4. You can see here I'm using, this is like a fast SMG, and then you've got your classic carbine. And they play differently. Like, you run differently with an SMG than you do with, you know, an LMG, for example. But it's pretty you know, similar. Nowadays, you can have like fire-breathing shotguns, blueprints. You're trying to grind things, and I think one thing that I really didn't enjoy about COD is when it went in the direction of blueprints. It felt like if I wanted to play Warzone, if I wanted to play, you know, basically if I wanted to play anything to any degree of success, you need the right gun. Definitely, you really do need that right gun. And that means leveling up, and then the devs can change, they can patch something, they can, you know, and all of a sudden you're now on the grind for a totally different gun. I don't like that. You know, obviously your gun matters. If you're using a 50 cal, or you're using an SMG, or you're using whatever it may be, it changes how you play the game, and you will have more success in certain situations. Like, ah, damn, he had an MP5, I had a sniper, that's why he killed me. But now it feels very much like there's some mechanic that beat you. Ah, he had plates. Ah, damn, he had, you know, what can we say? Oh, he had the Uzi with the extra clip, and I haven't unlocked that yet, and so I ran out of bullets. And, oh, the friction, the aim assist, the adhesion. I like my games to be simple and sort of understandable. That's not to say that there's no complexity in, you know, said game, but you know what I mean. There's a level of repetitive like simpleness. Like I say, you kind of know what you're getting. You know, you have these hallways, these things that you can look down, and yeah. I've never been good at Call of Duty. I haven't played this game in a long time. I've just, I suppose, over the last few months been feeling nostalgic for the old games. And I've sort of realised in some kind of silly way that, like, I can play these games. There's nothing stopping me playing these games. If I have an hour and I actually just want to play an old game, it doesn't really matter if it's gonna get me views. It doesn't matter if no one's watching it. It doesn't matter if it's not the cool game. Like, I've never been that kind of way inclined anyway. I've always played the game I wanted, but sometimes I've kind of forgotten that, you know what, you can go back to the old games. Back in the day on Xbox used to be kind of different. Like, when a new game came out, not everybody immediately jumped ship. The old game stayed alive for a long, long time. And sometimes, in the case of, say, Gears of War 1, many people stayed for the entire lifespan of Gears of War 1, choosing to play that instead of Gears of War 2, because they enjoyed it more. You know, it was that simple. And this, I've kind of maybe got into that mentality of, people don't play the old games, everyone's given up, everyone's on the new game. But actually, surprisingly, people are playing the old games. I was very surprised to find games, and pleasantly surprised. And so today is a totally random video. I'm not a COD YouTuber. I've never really uploaded COD. I just wanted to maybe post a bit of nostalgia for you guys. I'm having fun. There's you know, it's simple, and I obviously as I've got older, I don't need to get 50 kills to feel great. You know, I'm not going to go on a 50 kill streak. We ain't that guy, but, you know, getting the odd kill is kind of enjoyable. And that's all this video is. Call of Duty has just gone in a direction that is unrecognizable. The last one I played was World, began with a V. I can't even remember the name. It was like a... God, you know, that's how long ago it's been. It was on PC. It wasn't Modern Warfare. Anyway, I can't even remember the last Call of Duty game I played. The last one I played a little bit more regular. It had a mode called CDL. I thought that was going to be a little bit like Pro Mod, but it turned out that it wasn't really. I still had my moments of fun, but, you know, I'm just, I suppose, pleasantly surprised that people are still playing the old games. And I might look into playing some more old games if you enjoy the kind of nostalgia vibes. You know, it'll take me a little bit of... classic hit mark. It'll take me a while to get back in the swing of things, you know. I've kind of forgotten all the spots, and I've really kind of honestly forgotten how to play Call of Duty. I haven't played Call of Duty in, like I say, wow, forever. Absolutely forever. I've probably played Call of Duty, if I was good, look at that, could have been a Collateral. And so I don't want to, like, you know, what's the word? Try to make this video deeper than it means. I am just playing Call of Duty because, you know, it's an enjoyable it's an enjoyable experience for a brief time. Now, probably, yeah, if you played this game full time, you might get a little bit bored or a little bit whatever. But, you know, for me now, games are just like a moment in time. For some reason, my brain wants to play Call of Duty 4 PC. I'm pleased there are some lobbies, and that's what we'll do. That's what we'll play. I'm surprised they don't give everybody the unlocks with some kind of like tool or something, because I don't have any of the guns unlocked, and a lot of the servers are different. I don't really know, you know, there's probably some special servers that have lots of different stuff, but, you know, I just find the games like really simple and yet repetitively fun. There's just nothing too egregious in the game. You know what I mean by that? Like, there might be some guy that's camping. There might be some guy with the LMG spraying. But it doesn't feel as annoying as, like, a Nicki Minaj knee sliding, YY spamming with some meta class that is created off a YouTuber that's done a tier list, you know? Like, yeah, I'm being stunned, okay, I can't turn, you know? Okay, I'm getting spawn trapped in here. But would I rather that or fight Nicki Minaj on some kind of rocket ship, you know? By the way, I always used to love this gun in hardcore search and stuff like that. This with a silencer. I've always found the iron sight like weirdly awful and yet nice at the same time, you know? Does that make any sense? I need to get a little bit more involved here, don't I? But I'm just having a chat really. Oh, look at this guy spraying through here. Guess I need deep impact maybe for that. So yeah, I just today fancied playing some Call of Duty. That's it really. I had a nostalgic time on it. Last night I played some, like I said, some wet work and did okay. And I thought to myself, normally I would play, you know what's strange? Normally I would play it once and then be like, ah, okay, that was Call of Duty 4. I'm not going to play it again. But like, why not? Why not play it again? You know, I don't really care if I'm getting destroyed by people. So would I rather play this or pay 70 quid to play the new Black Ops with some absolute nonsense in it, you know? I want to, you know, when I'm in the mood to play a shooting game, a Call of Duty game, I want to fight soldier on soldier with some military style guns. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm there for. So this fills that gap. It doesn't need to be the latest and greatest, does it? You know, I don't know what this is. But oh, look at that M4 now. That's a classic, isn't it? And you know what? I could actually genuinely find myself ranking up my guns and unlocking some stuff for this game and enjoying it, because it's the same dopamine, right? Whether I'm choosing to unlock some on COD4 or Black Ops 7, it doesn't really matter, you know. You know what's kind of funny about the thing as well is COD4 is if I was to sit and unlock everything, it would probably be less of a waste of time, because this game would still be around the next year or the next month. The way these modern games work are all of a sudden they fall out of favor, the new big game comes out, people stop playing them, or the developer just decides, okay, you've had 1 year of that game now, we're going to stop that game, it's going to die, and you now have to play the new game. These games, these older games, are timeless, and the reason I'll tell you why I started to wrap up the video, the reason I actually started to look at these older games and maybe think about getting into them a little bit more was simply because I watched a YouTube channel where a guy plays old dead games that have no viewers, and he met a guy on there and the guy spoke to him and he basically was like, why do you play these old games that have no viewers, that have no players? And he was like, well, the old games, it's just somebody making the game for themselves. Like, the genre didn't exist, the type of game didn't exist, and he wanted to see if it was, you know, possible to make that game, and they just don't make them like that anymore. You know, a DayZ isn't really made anymore, is it? These kind of, you know, like source-based games like Gary's Mod that make game, like, kind of, I suppose, you know what's kind of ironic as well, and people will really find this maybe strange for me to say, like Roblox, having never played it but kind of have a rough idea of what it is, Roblox is like a throwback to the old games, in the sense of it's like games inside of a game, and people are making the games. Yeah, I'm sure they're trying to make a load of profit, but they are making the game to be fun. And there's tons and tons of different games and different styles. That doesn't happen anymore. Nowadays you get, like I say, your new Call of Duty, whatever new buzz game is out. But back in the day, there was like lots and lots of niche games, people coming up with, you know, you would call them genres, I guess. Like games within inside of games. Like prop hunt and stuff like that. You know, people would be trying to come up with something new and fun to play. And these are a throwback. And so I suppose for the last couple of evenings I've played an hour or two of COD, and I've enjoyed it. And today I wanted to post something, but I didn't want to post a vlog, and I didn't want to sit on my car and go on TikTok live, sit in my car, and I didn't want to buy a new game. And so I thought to myself, why not just have a chat and play like a bit of a nostalgic game, you know? So why not? I'm terrible at it, but maybe if I keep playing it, I'll get a bit more used to it, because it's been such an unbelievably long period of time since I've played this game. So that was today's video, I suppose. Maybe I'll find a better lobby at some point, get some gameplay for you. But I just wanted a little chat, you know. Are there any old games that you guys played? Maybe you could leave a comment below. Are there any old games that you play that other people maybe don't realise are active, but you actually can find games? You know, I'm tempted to, I'm not going to say purchase the older CODs, but I am tempted to maybe look at older games when really, I suppose I've written them off. I think it's just a shame the way Call of Duty went. I think the guns could have got more realistic, the maps more realistic, some environmental effects could have happened. But instead of that route, Call of Duty became the biggest money spinner of all time, and once you've opened that can of worms, you can't go back. Because, like I say, it's a bit like Roblox, you know, the worms have been opened, can of worms has been cracked open, and all the investors know that it's like the biggest well-oiled money-earning machine, probably in gaming history at this point, the way they sell blueprints, skins. They're amazing at what they do in a terrible way, you know what I mean? The way they milk their consumers is impressive and unfortunate. So that was today's video. Maybe you want to see some more gameplay, but sometimes I think it's nice just to watch a bit of a nostalgic game. I actually forget that there's lean on the regular mode. I know there was lean in pro mod, but I didn't realize there was lean in the default. In the default mode. So there we go. Terrible gameplay. One day will improve. I just honestly, I've just nipped to the local shop. I got myself a coffee, and I just wanted to just play a little bit of an old nostalgic game, and that's all this was. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Maybe put some memories of older games in the comments below for me to read, and take care. Have a lovely rest of your day.